Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I am said host, Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of May 15th, 2025, including more Microsoft layoffs hit Team Xbox, impending tariffs are now sparking thought that console prices could surge even further. Could the $50 video game be making a comeback? All this and more. On this week in Xbox history, in the year 2012, 13 years ago, there we go, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 was released for the Xbox 360. I gotta be honest, I love me some Sonic the Hedgehog. I love 2D Sonic the Hedgehog. I do not love Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Now, I don't hate it, I feel like, as much as most people did. I know a lot of people write this game off. It was split up into two episodes, episode 1 and 2. I think it was supposed to be 3 or 4 episodes and ended up getting cut short because, poor sales or bad feedback, whatever. These games are totally serviceable to me. My biggest issue is that the momentum comes to a halt when you're moving Sonic and you stop moving. It's just like a tank. And when you're trying to get the momentum build up, he just feels very tankish and slow. I don't love the feeling of the way Sonic controls. Once he gets going, it's okay. The cell shade art style, I'm okay with it, actually. It doesn't bother me. Although I will say the levels are fine. They're not bad by any means, but they're kind of just serviceable and very inspired by previous levels from like Sonic the Hedgehog 1. So overall, I don't love Sonic the Hedgehog 4. It is completely fine as like a spin-off side DLC kind of Xbox Live Arcade game, which it initially was pushed and kind of marketed as, but they then kind of like not retconned it, but it feels like it started as like a mobile Xbox Live Arcade kind of thing and then got kind of shoehorned into being this official, unofficial fourth entry in the classic series. I don't know. From that perspective, Sonic Mania, Sonic Superstars, far better games. Sonic the Hedgehog 4, it's okay. It's okay. Although I've beaten this game many times before. Between my Xbox and my phone, I've played this game many times before. But anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 2, happy 13th birthday. You guys, welcome to Xbox on Episode 311. Amber is the color of this podcast. And boy, have we got a good one for you. Here's the thing, man. Last week, we had Xbox prices going up. We had GTA 6 getting delayed. We had Gears of War coming to PlayStation. It's so much. We had so many headliner stories after weeks of slow news. And then this week, right back to the slow news. It's like, could you not have maybe spaced out some of those stories just a little bit? But we're kind of back to a slower news week, which is fine. You know, obviously, we got Doom coming out this week. We got all this news we're just coming off of. And then in a few weeks here, we got the Xbox Summer Showcase. So obviously there's tons and tons that is impending or just happened. And there's tons to talk about. It's just, man, the cadence at which this news is being delivered to us, drip fed to us, is a little bit frustrating at times. We're just like, what are we doing here? Why can't we space this out better? But anyway, beggars can't be choosers, and we'll work with what we get. So without further ado, let's kick this week's podcast off by talking about our notable game releases of the week, of which I just alluded to the first one, the big one, Doom the Dark Ages. It is out. It is here. This is the last super big Xbox game that we have coming out this year that is like firmly locked in, other than like Call of Duty, but we don't have a date on that yet. And then I guess there's, Tony Hawk, but that's a smaller thing. And then there's, Ninja Gaiden, which is like a second party thing with third party thing. But that's a smaller thing. I don't know. Doom the Dark Ages, this is definitely like the last big one, especially from that showcase back in January. Obviously, people are excited about this game. It's already getting excellent reviews. I gotta be honest, I'm personally very excited for it because I like Doom 2016 a lot. I like Doom Eternal a lot on paper, and then in practice, I feel like the more vertical, hyper crazy, fast style, while it sounded like something I would have wanted more, ended up not being my preferred cup of tea. But this more slow, like heavy, hulking kind of combat focused version that Dark Ages brings with this like medieval flair, I think is really cool. So I feel like This game has serious potential to be my favorite Doom yet, and I'm very much looking forward to playing it. So yeah, as soon as I get done with a couple of games I'm working on, this one is on the short list. It's definitely going above Expedition 33, which I'm also eager to get to, but I just got to get through Oblivion and some other things real quick. So Doom: The Dark Ages, obviously the big one here. Game Pass day one, no shit. And PC and all that stuff, and it's on PlayStation, of course, as well. But that's the big game. The second game I want to mention is Shovel Knight Dig. Now, this game came out a couple of years ago in like 22, I think, for Switch and iOS and Android, but is now coming to other consoles. So it comes to Xbox the day this podcast goes live, also Thursday the 15th. And this is like, it's weird. It's like this digging mechanic they threw into Shovel Knight. So it's not just a classic 2D platformer, like NES, SNES style 2D platformer. It is also I think it's a roguelike. Like it's got like dig dug mechanics meets platform mechanics. It's weird. It's very different. I didn't follow this game closely when it came out. I didn't play when it came out, but I love the first Shovel Knight very, very deeply. So I assume, despite this game being very different, it is still a very good game because I believe in the team at Yacht Club Games that they make great games, and so I trust this is great. But nonetheless, it's now here on Xbox, so it's worth mentioning. Guys, that's it for our notable game releases of the week. And I say that's it, like it's not a whole lot, but I mean, Doom is here. Come on, guys. Huge stuff. But after that, I mean, there's really just there's a decent number of news stories to get into, but nothing so big that we have to like do the small news, the big news, that kind of thing. So I've just kind of put everything into one list, and we'll just kind of work down from top to bottom here in the order I put them in. So that's kind of how we'll handle the news again this week, as we've been doing on some of these slower, or maybe I should say less eventful news weeks. So we'll get into that. I got to admit, I'm a little rusty trying to get back into it. I'm actually wrapping up my final day off after 6 days off. This is the most amount of time I've had off work, honest to God, probably in 3 to 5 years. It's been very nice, but kind of getting ready to go back to work tomorrow. I've done a lot of traveling, a lot of exploring, a lot of adventuring these past few days here. I haven't been home a whole lot, so it feels good getting set back into my rhythm. I miss my cats, so it's good to be with them again. But we can get into some of that stuff with what I've been eating and whatnot. But for now, let's just head straight into the news and kind of talk about what's going on in the world of Xbox. All right, starting with some not so great news, guys. Microsoft has announced actually this morning that they are laying off an additional 3% of their total staff. The layoffs take place across all levels of Microsoft, including teams and locations, according to a CNBC report, suggesting that Microsoft's gaming division may be affected to some extent. According to the report, Microsoft has around 228,000 employees by the end of last June, which would mean they'd be laying off about 6,800 people, though that's a rough estimate. In a statement to CNBC, Microsoft's spokesperson said that one of the objectives to the layoffs is to reduce layers of management, saying, quote, "We continue to implement organized changes necessary to best position the company for success in this dynamic marketplace." This would be the largest mass layoff since January 2023, when the company confirmed plans to lay off 4.5% of its workforce, about 10,000 people. In 2023, round of layoffs that affected Microsoft's video game division across Xbox and Bethesda, with reports reported significant numbers of layoffs at 343 Industries, now what is it called, Halo Studios. However, this was followed up in January 2024, where Microsoft announced it was cutting another 1,900 staff jobs at Xbox, Microsoft, Bethesda, whatever. Activision Blizzard was the main target of this as well. Basically cutting redundancies and in overlap of staff due to the mergers of these different teams. So this is yet another one. Now, they haven't explicitly said, hey, the video games section of our division of our company has been hit, but you can assume at least someone at Xbox is getting the axe from this. Obviously, when these things happen, as always, thoughts go out to those affected. I did stumble upon a big Reddit thread on the r/Microsoft forum where just tons of people were talking about getting the email from like, oh, please meet with us this afternoon with HR and so-and-so and so-and-so. And they're like, yep, I'm getting the axe. So that's terrifying, dude. If you're going to lay people off like that, don't fucking like email them at 7 a.m. and be like, hey, we're going to fire you this afternoon. Please add this to your calendar. We'll talk then. That fucking sucks. But anyway, yeah, there's not a whole lot to say without them explicitly mentioning any teams at Xbox or anything that may have been affected. But as always, this shit sucks, right? You gotta look at this and point to the fact that the tariffs and all the economic uncertainty happening right now is causing all these big companies like Microsoft to reevaluate and see where can we trim the fat, how can we get as lean as humanly possible to prepare for this upcoming economic turbulence that we're going to be experiencing / already kind of experiencing. And so this is just that kind of thing that happens. A big machine's got to optimize. It's nothing personal, but this is what happens when you work for a machine and not a human. And unfortunately, Microsoft is definitely one of those things. As much as we love Xbox, as much as we love the brand and the games and the history and everything, this is not a brand that is managed by a company that is here by and for the people. This is a company that is purely profit driven and is an absolute machine that must be fed. And unfortunately, that means for or whether it be for or against the company's best interest, the employee's best interest, sometimes decisions are made that have negative impacts like this. So, of course, fuck you, big corporations. Fuck you, Microsoft. And shout out to the people who are dealing with this. That totally sucks ass. And, of course, we hope you land back on your feet. Why do I always say we? Why do I always say we like me and my co-host? It's like I don't want to assume any kind of responsibility, so I say we because it feels awkward to be me. Anyway, shout out to you guys. Guys, let's keep the low point going. I promise the news gets more positive as we go through it, but the bigger things of these stories, the bigger stories of these small stories we have to go through are mostly negative at the top, but it gets better, I promise. So next up here, the trade association behind the CES tech event has warned that the Donald Trump tariffs could lead to console prices rising by as much as 70% in the United States. Now, the Consumer Technology Association published a report back in January by the Trade Partnership Worldwide LLC, which studied the potential impact of the U.S. president's tariff base on his campaign promises. Now, the CTA has published an updated version of that report, which assesses the impact of the actual tariffs now that they've been confirmed, and things have adjusted quite a bit since January. So, anyway, the report focuses on consumer tech, including video games, laptops, tablets, smartphones, monitors, computer accessories, and more. A universal 10% tariff implemented by Donald Trump went into effect on April 5th, while other reciprocal tariffs were also announced for numerous countries but most of these had been paused for a 90-day hiatus or whatever on April 9th, with the exception of China, which currently has a 145% tariff. According to TPW, or via Tom's Hardware, that did the digging, if the pause on the tariffs ends in July, the 90-day pause, on the highest rates that are applied as they currently stand, at the current rates as they currently stand, the price of tech goods could rise drastically in the U.S., with an estimated increase ranging from 24% on desktop PCs to 30% on smartphones and a huge 69.4% on video game consoles. So that is just bad on top of bad on top of bad. The report claims that because 87% of video game consoles come from China, its 145% rate means that the average retail cost of a game console could potentially rise as much as $428 per unit. It also estimates that this would result in a loss of $12 billion of consumer spending power on consoles due to higher prices. Now, that basically means it's measuring your opportunity cost to spend as a consumer, essentially, based on how much more you're having to spend to get the same goods as before. Now, this is obviously not making direct mention of the fact that Microsoft already announced preemptively price increases. I assume that price increase takes into account an assumption that these tariffs will go into effect, whether it be at these rates or not. I don't know. But that is them trying to get ahead of it and account for that now, as opposed to reactionary after they go through. So I would say for the immediate to midterm, that Xbox pricing is probably pretty stable, or that is at least the plan as of now. However, yeah, I mean, clearly this indicates that things could get even worse. Now, obviously, take all this with a pinch of salt because none of this is 100% guarantee. That 90-day hiatus just came out of nowhere. Anything could happen between now and then. Remember when TikTok was going to get banned, and then it got banned for like 35 minutes, and then it wasn't. So if there's one thing I've learned in my short time on this earth, observing how the government operates, they love to talk a big talk and then cower down and back out last minute and change everything. So it is highly possible that these tariffs either don't go into effect or only go into effect in certain places, or go into effect but at a much lower rate than they're currently planned for. So a lot of things could change. None of this is definitive, but looking at these numbers, I mean, this is rough, because I remember during the election cycle last fall, everyone was like, "Oh, Trump's talking about these tariffs. Trump's talking about these tariffs. What do you think that's going to be?" They're like, "No, we're talking about manufacturing of automobiles and little plastic goods and things that we need to get back in the U.S. and stop being so dependent on China for." And then it turned into like, fuck every country. We're tariffing every country. Every product, service, and good that it comes from another country is getting fucking tariffed to hell and back in the U.S. So it's like, no one apparently saw this coming, because everyone who was propping up this administration during the election cycle, and this isn't judgment on those people, this is just recalling, what I saw happen back then and what's going on now. Everyone seemed pretty comfortable and confident saying that these tariffs weren't going to affect frivolous, smaller things like video games, and if they did, it would be a very minor impact. But lo and behold, here we are 6 months later, and it looks like video games are getting fucking molested. Worst case, best case scenario, getting molested. So it seems like this tariff shit could be hurting us pretty hard. I don't, not intelligent enough, not an economist, not smart enough to really get into this in any further detail. I mean, we're all kind of just waiting to see what happens next, and I think we got ourselves another 2 months before we get anything substantial. But it just seems kind of bleak, and so I'll say this, one of the reasons why I feel totally comfortable having just pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch 2 $500 Mario Kart bundle with my $90 Pro Controller 2 without even wincing is because I just don't think anything in gaming is going to drop in price. I feel like right now, hardware-wise, when it comes to your controllers, your accessories, your video game consoles, things are only going to get weirder. Whether they go up, whether they stay the same, whether they go up for a short period of time and then back down to normal. I think every permutation is possible. The only thing I don't think is possible right now or anytime in the near future is that prices decrease at all. So I just wouldn't be holding out for that. I don't think it's going to happen. And with things being as uncertain as they are, if you're in a position where you're fortunate enough to be able to get a video game console or accessories for your video game console, whatever, because you got that disposable income, now is the time to buy, not wait. Do not follow the conventional wisdom of waiting. Just go ahead, knock that shit out. It's only going to get worse. Or stay the exact same. So why wait any longer than you have to? So that's my 2 cents as someone who doesn't know a goddamn thing about anything. But it just seems like the writing is on the wall that things are just going to get a little worse here in the video games industry. On the one hand, it's like I would be happy to see things go up in price if it meant that the industry is healthier and that more people can keep their jobs and that we can sustain and better, accommodate the industry that we propped up and built. But I don't think most of these tariffs have to do with that. I think it has to do with keeping up with the cost of these tariffs and what they do to the video games industry. It's not really making up for it's video game prices have needed to increase for a while because of inflation. This isn't responding to inflation. This is responding to tariffs that are going to fuck everything up. So I don't know. Here's hoping for the best, right? All right, last negative one. 2 more negative ones, and then we get into some positive stuff. I promise. We're getting there. All right, Ubisoft has revealed a decision to delay major unannounced titles to give them additional development time. Sharing the news in the latest earnings release, the publisher pointed to a decision to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows earlier in the year and its subsequent successful release and positive reception earlier in the year following that delay. Ubisoft did not specify which games were delayed. Ubisoft also confirmed that in the earnings document that their long-delayed Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake will release during its current business year, which ends in March. So between now and March, we'll be getting that Prince of Persia remake, so at least there's that one thing to look forward to. But until their summer showcase event that they do, that Ubisoft whatever, in June, we're pretty much, maybe they don't do one this year, but we're pretty much in a wait-and-see approach with Ubisoft. Everything with that company is weird. This new holding shell they built with Tencent to bring over the most important IP, and then this second Ubisoft shell that seems like it's where they're going to offload all the bad shit and fold the company. I don't know. There's a lot of head-scratching questioning with what's going on with Ubisoft. It's great to see that their decision to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows worked out, that game did really well, it reviewed well, it sold well, but It's going to take a lot more than Assassin's Creed Shadows to kind of pull them out of the mud, as they've been dealing with nothing but flop after flop for a while now, and they really need a string of heavy hitter successes in order to really get back on into a position where they're strong and healthy again. And so hopefully they can hold out long enough to get there. But while I always support delays for a better product as an end result, I just worry about a company like Ubisoft being able to stick it out long enough to get there. But I guess with Tencent's investment money, they should be able to do it just fine. But, here is hoping. Ubisoft, I want to see these guys get back to greatness. I love Ubisoft. They're not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but I see them getting a lot of hate, and I got a lot of respect and love for Ubisoft. They're an important player. They're a historic player, and I like a lot of the games they put out, so I will always be rooting for them, even if I don't care about those Rabbids. They're basically just video game minions. I'll always support you nonetheless, Ubisoft. So good luck to you. And then next up, guys, this is the last negative news, although I'm kind of happy to see it because it's a busy year and I need all the time I can get with these other video games. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has officially been delayed to 2026, the game's publishers announced. In a statement posted on X, Skydance Games said the game, which was previously set to release this year, will now come out in 2026, saying, quote, "We have an important update. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra will now be launching in early 2026. So, hey, it's still less than a year away if it's early 26. Taking this additional time will allow us to add more polish and make sure that we give you the best experience and one that lives up to our vision. We have some exciting things in store to look forward to, sharing more soon." Now, this game was announced originally back in March of 2024 during an Unreal Engine showcase at a GDC event. I suspect we'll probably see this game either at Summer Game Fest in June or at Gamescom in August. Or the latest we would see it would be this December at the Game Awards, and then they would do like a pretty imminent release date with it, like a big gameplay reveal showcase with a 2 or 3 month from then release date, because they're saying early 2026. So the plan is probably to have this out no later than March of next year. So I still expect to see this game pretty damn soon, which would be exciting because I am eager to see this game. It's a team of a lot of ex-Naughty Dog people. You got Amy Hennig writing it. It's this Captain America and Black Panther from the 1940s during World War II, and they got Hydra being all Nazi-like. I think this is a cool premise. It's a game I'm interested in playing. So I guess it's regular Captain America. It's Steve Rogers before he was frozen with the old Black Panther, which is just a cool concept. It's a cool premise, and I really want to see what they can do with this game. I hope it is a kick-ass third-person action game with a good story that is unique and interesting and has no live service elements, which it seems pretty clear that it won't. So I'm eager to see this game, although always willing to accept a delay if it means we get a better game at the end. Plus, got too many fucking games to play, so boo-hoo, so sad. We'll keep waiting. Do what you gotta do. Take your time, guys. All right, speaking of video games, that's a good segue. The release date for Mafia: The Old Country has officially been confirmed, along with a $50 price point. The fourth main entry in the Mafia series will be released on August 8th for Xbox Series consoles as well as PC. Despite the topic of rising game prices being a prominent fixture in recent months, 2K has actually opted for the standard edition of Mafia: The Old Country to be only $50 US, $49.99. This will be accompanied by a $10 or more expensive, or $59.99, deluxe edition. To see what's in the deluxe edition, go online. I don't care about any of that stuff. But just to continue on real quick, the game's price point appears to reflect its place in 2K's library as a title with a standalone linear story, as opposed to a live service game offered by the publisher. They say, quote, "We think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments," 2K president David Ismailer said in the statement. Quote, "We're excited to offer a game like Mafia: The Old Country in our portfolio and to provide a linear, high-quality, polished narrative experience that can easily be complemented by other more persistent games our players are also love and are engaged with on a more consistent basis." Now, I think this is a huge risk is what they're doing here. My guess is that Mafia: The Old Country is a proper AAA experience. I don't think $50, which is $20 less than the standard $70 and $10 less than the what was until very recently standard $60. I don't think that's an indicator saying, hey, this game is rough around the edges, or it's very double A, or its graphics are kind of shitty, or any of that. I don't think it's that at all. I think what they're doing here is they are taking a risk and exploring the pricing spectrum in a world where Mario Kart is $80 and Xbox is raising prices to $80 and all kinds of things are happening, and people are wondering if GTA 6 will be $100. I think what's happening is they're taking a risk. They're experimenting with a game like Mafia that has historically been a good seller, a pretty decent hit, but by no means one of the biggest games in the industry. And they're saying, hey, this is an established franchise that has a committed fan base that will no doubt sell copies. If we were to sell this game at $50, would we get a substantially higher engagement level early on when the game is $50 full price, as opposed to if we come out the gate at that $70 price point that's more commonplace now? Will it make the game more competitive? Because in today's landscape, people are a lot more hesitant to spend $60, $70, $80 on a game that's going to take them 10 to 15 hours to beat, and then they'll never play again. I mean, look at Doom the Dark Ages. That game is probably going to do pretty decent, but it's a game that only has single player and will probably take about 10 to 12 hours to beat. And then you got to wonder, like, how many people on PlayStation or PC, or Xbox minus the Game Pass people are willing to spend the $70 for that game versus if the game were $50, because in today's world, people equate the amount of time spent on a game with the amount that a game should cost, which is, in my opinion, completely bullshit. Shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. So publishers have to react to that reality. And so, people can say, hey, I could download Fortnite for free and play it for 8 trillion fucking hours and spend $3,500 over the course of 3 years on skins of Nicki Minaj and Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter. Or I could spend $70 and play this game for maybe 10 to 20 hours and never touch it again. But there are no microtransactions, and people are going to, more often than not, as we see statistically speaking, opt for that free-to-play experience where they get in the door thinking they're getting a great deal and then get suckered into spending shit tons of money over a long course of time playing that one specific game. So I think what they're trying to do is play around and say, could we make it more financially viable to take these kinds of linear single-player experiences that aren't giant Skyrim open worlds, that aren't Breath of the Wilds and Tears of the Kingdom, that aren't the most expensive games out there, like a Last of Us Part 2 or whatever? Can we take these kinds of games and price them more competitively to try and say, yes, we know Grand Theft Auto is a bigger game. Yes, we know that. I don't know what's a big game coming out this year, not next year. Everything's been delayed to get away from Grand Theft Auto, so it's like, I don't know. But can we get you enticed by a lower price point, understanding that yes, this game is probably going to be a game you spend less time with, but is still worth a strong $50 price point because it is an immersive experience, a intriguing single player narrative game that even though you won't spend many hours with, you will get a high quality experience out of. So I think they're just kind of testing the waters and playing with it. But this is exactly what I've asked for and hoped for, is that we could get a bigger spectrum of pricing exploration where, hey, maybe Mafia the Old Country does incredibly well as a $50 game, and they sell, maybe they're able to determine that, hey, we think we sold 300 or 500,000 copies more because this price point than we would have had we sold it for $70. Of course, whether 2K takes that sales data, the hypothetical sales data, and interprets that is entirely entirely up in the air. Who knows? The game might sell incredibly well, and they might read that as in like, hey, we shouldn't be selling this game for $50. We should be charging $70 because look how many people bought it. So I don't know. They can read it any way they want to, but I don't see $50 as a way of saying this is a lower quality AA style cheap budgety game. I just see it as them saying, hey, clearly times have changed. People don't value single player linear experiences as much as they value live service or giant open worlds or big multiplayer games. And so we need to try and play around with the pricing spectrum to figure out where different kinds of games can be priced to be as competitive and as attractive to the consumer as possible. And I applaud them for doing this. I think pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to play this game because I haven't played any of the other 3 entries, but I really appreciate what they're doing here. And I'll be honest, the Mafia series is one I've always wanted to get into. I just haven't. So maybe there will be a day I come to this, but it'll be long past its release date. It'll be on deep discount by the time that day comes, or better yet, Game Pass. But I really do applaud them trying this because I'm curious to see how this stuff plays out. Xbox does this a little bit as well, of course. South of Midnight, a $50 game. Obviously, as Dusk Falls and Hellblade, these are cheaper games. They don't sell these games at $70 at launch. In Expedition 33, they're fucking around with it. They just released that game for $50, and look how well that game's doing. I wonder if Take-Two is looking at that when making decisions like this. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, they'll be just fine. They got Grand Theft Auto next year. They got NBA 2K and stuff like that. So they can afford to take risks and explore the spectrum and get some data from doing things like this. But I'm really curious to see how this works out for them because I would love to see a future where we can have brand new games that are equally respected come out and be priced in different ways. Have a $70 game versus an $80 game versus a $50 game, and let the consumers look at the gameplay footage, look at the trailers, read a synopsis of the game, figure out what the game's about, watch a streamer or a YouTuber play and go, this looks worth it to me. That looks worth it to me. $70 seems reasonable for this game. $50 seems reasonable for that game. I think this is a healthier way to do gaming rather than everything having to be, the same price as a flat thing going forward. So yeah, excited to see how that one plays out. Now, guys, let's wrap up. Well, no, we got a couple more. Let's talk about Fallout, the TV show, not the video game. So season 2 just wrapped filming. So we're probably about a year or so away from that coming out. I'd say probably 2026, sometime maybe around the 2-year anniversary of the show. We'll probably get that season 2. But in addition to that, Amazon announced like, hey, season 2, we just wrapped filming. We're going into post-production. However, we are also just confirming we just greenlit this show for a 3rd season. So, hey, look forward to that. So that's exciting. Not too much to say about it. Not super surprising considering how well received that first season was and that whatever they're building at is going to take more than 2 seasons. So they're saying, hey, you're already done filming that. Why don't you just get to work on season 3 while our post-production team gets to work on wrapping that up. Plus, now's a good time to confirm that, even though we probably would have confirmed that anyway. It's just, this is a good way to have like some kind of pop in the media where we can say, hey, we just wrapped season 2's filming, even though it's X amount of, months away from being ready to put on Amazon Prime. At least we can get you guys tantalized by saying, we're also greenlighting a season 3. It's just a little marketing blip. But what's really interesting is around the same time this happened, the actor that plays Maximus, Aaron Modem, was at Comic-Con in Liverpool. And so he says something not confirmed, but he says something that indicates this show could be going on for a lot more than 2 or 3 seasons, because he says character's story is supposed to end 3 or 4 seasons later. So he says, quote, I was told when I sat down to do the series that we have a starting point and that they gave me an end point. Modem explained in a clip posted on, it's posted to Reddit is where this comes from, but he says, and at the end point, it hasn't changed so far, but it is a 5-6 for the end point, 5 or 6 seasons. So we always known that we were going to take our time with the development of our character. Modem's comments were obviously not confirmed, but the series will last until 5 or 6 seasons because numerous factors could result in the cancellation before then, or plans could simply change. So obviously it's not a confirmation that there will be 5 or 6 seasons of the show, or maybe even more. But it is an indication that at least at some point the plan was, hey, we got some kind of blueprint or roadmap for the show to go at least 5 or 6 seasons, which doesn't really surprise me entirely. You could see them doing like a Walking Dead type thing with Fallout and just like not letting it fucking die, just keeping this thing going forever and ever and ever. Hopefully that's not the case, but I'm not entirely, American television loves taking things too far and making things last way too long. So even though I would love for a Fallout show to end after like 3-4 seasons max, it doesn't surprise me to know that they're already thinking of, or from the start had been thinking of, possibly a 5th or 6th season or beyond. But anyway, listen, if they can keep the quality of the show consistently great throughout, then what does it matter? You're just giving people more of what they want, and there's never too much of a good thing, right? That's one thing we've never learned in this country. Supersize it all, baby. 14 seasons of The Office. Who gives a shit where Steve Carell is? Anyway, guys, let's move to the next story, which has me the most excited because this is something I want so dearly. Speaking of not letting things die, Tony Hawk has said that he will campaign all he can for a remake of Tony Hawk's Underground series. The Tony Hawk's Underground series, or Tony Hawk's Underground, was the 5th game of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater lineage, taking the series in a new direction with a story-focused campaign and more cutscenes. The game is a fan favorite for its take on skateboarding culture and its move away from the arcade style goals of the earlier games. Since its release in 2003, fans have long requested a remake or a remaster for the game, calls which have since increased following the announcement of a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, which is due out in just a few months in July. Now, speaking at a preview event for the upcoming game, Tony Hawk himself was asked about the potential for a remake of these underground games and beyond the original, four Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, which he says, quote, I always have aspirations. It's not up to me generally. I'll campaign all I can. I'm working with a much bigger company that's a lot smarter than me, talking about, Activision. Hawk went on to say that or maybe some at Microsoft, I don't know. Hawk went on to say that Underground Remastered hasn't been discussed internally and that the success of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 remake could be a deciding factor in bringing back future titles. Now, keep in mind, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, the follow-up to Underground, released in 2004, 1 year later, and may prove to be more of a significant challenge due to the remake. Oh, never mind. This says, because Tony Hawk's Pro Underground 2 has a lot of licensed characters and celebrity cameos. And they talk about Bam Margera, but he just got confirmed to finally be coming to the Pro Skater 3+4, so maybe that's less of an issue. Anyway, let's not get into that. Let's just speculate here. Guys, this for me, I grew up playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The first one we had was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. I played that game on the PlayStation 1 back in 1998, 99. And I love that game. I love that game deeply. I played a little bit of Pro Skater 2. I actually never played Pro Skater 3 and 4, so this will be new for me when they come out in July, this remaster collection. But that's not the point. As much as I love those original Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, the soundtrack, the nostalgia of those games are not the Tony Hawk games that I yearn for the most. My favorite Tony Hawk games by far are the Underground trilogy. I always refer to it as a trilogy because it's Underground 1 and 2, and then in 2005, it was Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, which for all intents and purposes is Tony Hawk's Underground 3, just with a different name. But after that game is kind of when it started getting really weird with Project Underground and Project 8 or whatever, Proven Underground, whatever the other games were. It started kind of getting off the rails, but those last three games, Underground 1, Underground 2, and American Wasteland, those are my three favorite Tony Hawk games. I adore those games so much and would absolutely love for there to be a collection or individual releases of those three games. My fear is that we would get a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Underground 1 remaster, maybe an Underground 2 remaster, and then they would stop there and we would never get American Wasteland, which is my all-time favorite Tony Hawk game. But God, those games had incredible soundtracks. Yes, the writing is corny as hell. Oh my God, the presentation and just the character models look and move like shit. It's just so goofy. The way everyone spins their hands and looks like a static little strip mall or mannequin, like a store mannequin, the way they talk and move. But I absolutely adore those games, and I would just fucking kill to skate around, listen to Descendants and Alkaline Trio and in those Underground games, playing those career modes, those campaign modes, because they were so good, and I'm sure they hold up in a way that is deeply nostalgic and fun for people who are playing those games in the early to mid 2000s. So I will always champion for that. There's no indication that they're coming, but it seems like Tony Hawk is aware that people want them, and he's saying, hey, I'll take a paycheck all day. Fucking bring it on, baby. So listen, Tony Hawk, we are all for you getting paid by Papa Microsoft. If it means that we get those Underground games, please, for the love of Christ almighty, make it happen. So anyway, that one just gives me hope. Even though it's nothing permanent or concrete, it gives me hope and I want it. Come on, Activision, open up that fucking purse. You got the Snoop Dogg Call of Duty skin money. You can make it happen. If a Tony Hawk remaster comes out and bombs, all you got to do is put fucking Kid Cudi and Ted Bundy in Call of Duty Warzone Season 26, and then you more than make up the money lost. It's not that big a deal. Just fucking, you know what to do. Press that remaster button, Control C, Control V, and let's make this shit happen, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. Game Pass, baby. All right, and the last thing I have here, it's not really news. It's more of a PSA. I just kind of want to throw this out there because what a fucking deal, but Humble Bundle, we'll get into that for a second if you don't know what it is, but the latest Humble Bundle gathers 8 critically acclaimed Microsoft Game Studios games, and it's selling for $10. The bundle, which is simply titled the Xbox Game Studios Bundle, contains PC Steam codes for 8 games that were previously published under the Xbox Game Studios banner. I'll just read them out for you. Excellent game list. It's Age of Empires Definitive Edition, As Dusk Falls, Battletoads, Broken Age, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the second entry in the series, Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive, and Wasteland 3. I mean, just those last 3 alone to me are just fucking phenomenal. Wasteland 3, Sunset Overdrive, and Quantum Break. Those are 3 of my all-time favorite Xbox games ever. So, I mean, just for the love of God, for those 3 games alone, $10 it's more than a steal. That is like fucking overthrowing the Federal Reserve right there. Like, you control the money, baby, for $10. Those 3 games, what's a better deal? But Battletoads, also a great game. Ori the Will-O-Wisp, I know people love that game. I never played it. Broken Age, never played it. As Dusk Falls, pretty good time. I like that game. An Age of Empires Definitive Edition, I didn't play it. I'm not dumb. I'm not gay. I wouldn't play that. I don't like boys. I like girls. Why would I play Age of Empires? But anyway, just super fucking phenomenal bundle. Now, for those who don't know, Humble Bundle, it's like a donation thing. So when you buy it, by default, 20% of the money goes to charity, with 60% of the money going to Microsoft and 20% going to Humble, the company. But players who want to add more of their share to the charity have an option to adjust donation to, drop down and look for a custom amount tab, and they can give up to 80% of that money towards charity. So cool organization. I don't really know what all charities they give to. I've done a couple Humble Bundles in the past, but I mean, this is by far like the best looking one I've ever seen. It's just, dude, it's such a great value. So just thought I'd throw that out there. If you're interested in getting a ton of excellent games for $10, and for some reason you don't have Game Pass, this is a great option for you. So a little PSA for you there, but guys, that's just for PC, to be clear. It's not for Xbox, just for PC. But guys, that's it for all of our news this week. I guess we'll take a little water break, then we'll come back, talk about what I've been playing and the comments and things like that. So yeah, let's take a break. Come right back. Love you. All right, now it's time to tell you about the games I've been playing this past week. But before I can tell you about what I've been playing, I gotta tell you about what it is I've been eating. So as I mentioned last week, this week, I don't know, whenever I mentioned it, I've been traveling a lot this past week. I haven't really been home. So what is it? Last Friday, we flew out to Kansas City to visit my dad, who lives out that way nowadays. And we spent the weekend with him, saw a couple baseball games, did some things over there, and that's fine. And there were some things I wanted to mention. Shout out to the Midwest. Never been to the Midwest in my life. Then my dad moved out to the greater Kansas City area. Now I've been there a couple times. I like the Midwest. I'm a fan of the Midwest. You guys really know how to do big box stores. Shout out to Nebraska Furniture Mart. Place is fucking awesome. It's like Brands Mart USA plus Circuit City plus, I don't know, IKEA plus all rooms to go. It's amazing. I love that place. Also, special shout out to Menards. I've finally been to a Menards. I did not know that they made all their own tools or had all their own tool brands. I thought they carried like major household names. Whatever. New experience for me. It's like the Costco freaking like mall version of like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. Menards, you are a beautiful freak of nature, and I love you every day. Glad I've been able to go there. So whatever, had some fun out there, ate some ballpark food, made some steaks for my family at home, whatever. But I really don't want to fixate on what I've been eating while we were in Kansas City, because the day we came back from Kansas City on Monday, or I guess the day after we came back from Kansas City, we had the opportunity finally to check out the brand new Universal theme park at Universal Orlando Resort here, just down the road from us, the Epic Universe Park. And so we went there all day Tuesday. Park open to park closed. Spent the whole day checking out a brand new theme park. Had a really, really great day. It's an awesome park. Lots of things I really loved about it. Shout out to Super Nintendo Land. I don't know why I wasn't expecting to like love that land as much as I did. I fucking adored that land. Super Nintendo Land is one of the most fun parts of a theme park I've ever been to, ever. Great place. Awesome time. But I don't want to talk about theme parks because I haven't been eating theme parks. What I want to talk about specifically is the food I was eating while at Epic Universe. So many things I've eaten this past week. Haven't had really a home-cooked meal until today. I hadn't had a home-cooked meal in almost a week. So it's nice to be back, but I've eaten a lot of things, and I decided of all the things I've eaten this past week, the thing I'd really like to focus on is the food at Universal's Epic Universe. And I know a couple of you guys have written in that you've already been to the park or are going to the park. So I know this is relevant to some of you as well. So just as much as, it's one day. We had one day at Epic Universe. I don't know when the hell we'll be back because we had to pay an arm and a leg to get into the park and parking and everything. We're not annual pass holders to Universal anymore, so we didn't get any like discounts or anything. So paid a shit ton of money to be there. I don't regret it. It was worth every penny. I had a wonderful day. It's a fantastic park. But I was like, you know what? If this is our one and only day to be here for God knows how long, might as well go all out and just buy whatever merch you want, eat at whatever restaurant you want, just make the most of it. So I made a list of all the restaurants in the park I wanted to check out, and just as much as I made oh, we got to hit this ride, I got to go on this coaster, got to hit that ride, want to see that while I'm here, I made a separate list where I was like, got to eat here, got to check out this restaurant, got to have that snack. And so we did a little bit of a food tour while we were at Epic Universe. So I kind of want to go through this and tell you about some of the amazing food at this new theme park. So for those that don't know, Universal, the guys that do the theme park that's not Disney World, they got like the Hulk roller coaster and all that stuff. They have a brand new theme park called Epic Universe here in Orlando, Florida. It's got a Nintendo World. It's got a Monsters World based on like Universal classic monsters. It's got like the 25th version of Harry Potter that they've done. And then it's got a How to Train Your Dragon Land for like families with younger kids. And it's a beautiful theme park. It's a really fun theme park. All the lands are really well done. And so I made it a point to pretty much eat in every part of the park I could. I think How to Train Your Dragon was the only land we didn't eat at all. So going through them here, I just got my photo library pulled up. I just want to give a special shout out. First of all, first thing we ate at Epic Universe was the Yoshi slushie at Super Nintendo World. This is a melon and apple slushie. And I was expecting to hate this because I hate apple flavored things. I hate artificial apple. I hate green artificial apple in particular. But I love melon. So I was like, oh man, this is like, I'm sure like in Japan they sell this probably as like a melon drink, but in America you always have to give them some fucking artificial watermelon or apple flavor. But no, to my surprise, this drink is phenomenal. Universal is very famous for their butterbeer that they sell at Harry Potter, which is also phenomenal. I love butterbeer. But I'll go on a limb here and say this melon and apple Yoshi slushie at Super Nintendo World, for my preferences and my taste, I might like this more than a butterbeer. This might be my go-to drink snack at a Universal theme park moving forward. It is so fucking good. So shout out to that. And then after that, we really mostly ate at restaurants and had meals. So we went to Das Steakhouse, which is it's like everything at this park, it's like this hybrid between like a sit-down restaurant and quick service. It's basically glorified quick service, but it's like this, it's not really a steakhouse, but they, whatever. It's the restaurant in the Universal Monster Land where you eat like this, I don't know, it's like a fucking crypt or some shit. And they got like fried chicken and they got burgers and they got a steak option, they got a chicken option and all the rest. And we got the fried chicken and cornbread plate, which had a really fun presentation with like gooey, bloody sauce on the chicken. And the cornbread is shaped like a skull and has these like quote unquote bloody, gooey bits in the middle. And I don't know how the coleslaw is scary, but it was good. And the food here was solid. Honestly, overpriced, but solid. Like I enjoyed the food. This wasn't on the top of my list as far as food goes, but I really wanted to check out the atmosphere of this place. So we didn't eat a lot here. We just kind of shared a single plate and then just to check it out and get a feel for it. And then we moved on. So this place, really fun interior. I liked it a lot. But the food was fine. Overpriced theme park food, but fine. The next place we ate at was the only place that was not on our list. We just ended up eating at on a whim because we stumbled upon it and it was just that pretty. I don't even remember. This is called Café Le de la Sirène, something French. It's in the new Harry Potter land because this is the third Universal park to do a Harry Potter land, and this time it's Harry Potter set in France. I gotta be honest, this section of the park was fucking beautiful, possibly the best Harry Potter land they've done yet. It's just so stunning, and the scale and size of it is so impressive. But they have this really nice like boulangerie bistro type restaurant that we walked past and we're like, damn, that actually looks really cool. It looks like they're trying to compete with the famous boulangerie at Disney's France Pavilion at Epcot. And I was like, well, everyone knows that's one of the best quick service bites at all of Walt Disney World. I wonder if this is just Universal saying, hey, we can do one of those too. So we're like, you know what, let's give it a go. So we got some French onion soup. We got a little brie apple and turkey sandwich. We got a little salad and stuff. And we shared that. And that was okay. The restaurant is stunning inside. It is one of the prettiest fucking restaurants I've ever seen. Shout out, like, serious props to Universal. They've done theming in this park on a level that we haven't seen theme parks really take seriously in like 20 years. Like, serious respect and shout out to Universal for like going so far. This restaurant is stunning top to bottom, but the food was like, is okay. My girlfriend got this strawberry tea, which was really refreshing, and she got a French onion soup that was actually pretty solid, but everything else was like kind of mid. It seems like really this restaurant exists for this like butterbeer crepe cakes that they do, and they look delicious, but they're giant. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get diabetes if I eat and order one of these by myself. So I didn't get it, but it looked like everyone was enjoying it who had it. But shout out to Café de la Celie. Fucking French people, just learn English and get with the times, okay? Thank you. But the Harry Potter land, as someone who actually hates Harry Potter, I gotta give credit where credit's due. That land is fucking beautiful. Really good job there. And then the next place we ate at, so we skipped the Dragonland, but the next place we ate at was my number one most anticipated restaurant in all of the park, and that is Pizza Moon, which is a pizza restaurant in, what's it called? Constellation Park or whatever, which is like the center of the park. It's like the hub of the park. All the land split off from there. And it's this awesome, like, I don't fucking like just weird goddamn pizza restaurant with the stars and the astronomy and the Galileo, and you got the stars, but you got the pizza pie, and it's a weird place, but it has really funky, fun, ridiculous theming. This is like some fun, like 1990s style theme park theming in here, and I absolutely adore this restaurant. But the real reason I want to check it out more than it just being a funky, weird place is that people are saying, hey, this might be the best pizza I've ever had in a theme park. I've seen multiple people online and in YouTube videos say this. So I was like, well, we got to try Pizza Moon because I'm a theme park pizza whore. Not only that, but Universal has historically been the king of theme park pizza. So I had pretty high expectations as someone who adores the Bayliner Diner pizza at Universal's Cabana Bay Resort, and as someone who adores Pizzatoria at the Jurassic Park section of Islands of Adventure. This, big shoes to fill. Let's just say it that way. So we ate at Pizza Moon. Now, we ended up getting the pizza my girlfriend wanted, not the one I wanted. So I would love to go back here and order a different pizza next time. But we got basically it's a margarita pizza with some ricotta thrown on top. Gotta say, the basil, the cheese, the dough, which is the hardest part, they kind of did a really good job here. It tries to be more of a legitimate pizza. They got like a fire brick oven and everything. It's all legit. And it's pretty good, but I really did not like the sauce here. It's way too sweet, way too much of it. The sauce was not it for me. So I just feel like this pizza was good. It was really good for theme park pizza, but I feel like I ordered the wrong pizza. Like, I really want to try their signature pizza. Had like an ube crust and had like onions and sausages and all this weird shit going on together. And I really wanted to go for that, but maybe next time. But the pizza overall, I would say, yeah, as far as quality goes for theme park pizza, it's very good. But as far as my favorite theme park pizza, no. Bayliner Diner at Cabana Bay Resort at Universal, still, in my opinion, the best theme park pizza, aside from, of course, Disney's classic Disney Resort pizza, which is actually horrible, but I love it so much. So, very good. Glad I checked it out. Shout out to Pizza Moon, but not my favorite bite of the day so far. We actually were pretty fucking stuffed by this point in the day, but I forced myself to follow through and eat at the last restaurant because not only because out of obligation as a video game fan and a Nintendo fan, but also because I've been waiting for this Super Nintendo Land to open since Universal and Nintendo announced they were building a theme park land together in like 2013, I think it was. So I've been waiting for well over a decade. And God, I mean, Universal and Nintendo really took their fucking sweet ass time. I mean, the fact that it took them like 11 years to put a goddamn Nintendo Land in Florida is astonishing and just so fucking obnoxious. But I am very happy to report and say it was worth the wait. Now, I've known that they've had this land in Japan for like 4 or 5 years now. I think it opened around COVID. And then it's been in California for, I want to say, 2 years now. Obviously, I wasn't going to go to Japan just to check out Nintendo World. So it wasn't going to happen. I was going to wait for it to come to Florida. And when it opened in California, I was like, I could go see it now, but it was around the time we were trying to buy a house. Plus, California got like a shitty gimped tiny version of it, and I'd rather just wait a little longer and experience the full-fledged, proper, envisionment of this park, of this land. So I just waited, and here we go. Finally, all these years later, from the time I've been waiting since I was like 19 years old, but here I am at 30, and we finally got the Super Nintendo Land at Universal here in my backyard, 35 minutes from the house. So it's really nice to have this up the road, even though God knows when I'll be here again. Just gotta say, this I just gotta give a little preface, even though we're not talking about the food yet. I love this land. I love this land so much. I was most excited to actually see the Universal Monsters stuff at this park more than Nintendo. And then as soon as we got into the park and I started to see the Nintendo stuff in person after years and years of concept art and videos of other people going to the park and everything, I was like, whatever. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm excited to see it one day when I go, whatever. I'll see it when I see it. But something about seeing it in person, it finally clicked with me. I was like, oh shit, this is like fucking awesome. And I immediately became like a little kid. It was like the way I used to do theme parks back when I wasn't a jaded asshole. I immediately bought the little Mario wristband so you can interact with the land and like punch the blocks, and I tried all the snacks. We rode all the rides. First of all, people rag on the rides in this park so much. I gotta say, I love the rides in this park. I think the Nintendo Land is like kind of perfectly done. Now the Mario Kart ride deserves a lot of criticism, and there are a lot of ways that ride could be better. And I think that ride is a really, really, really impressive idea, and a really not high concept. What am I trying to say? It is a really tricky idea that is super ambitious. And while I don't think they landed it 100%, I really appreciate and admire this ride for what it is and for what they were trying to do. It reminds me very similarly of like Mission Space at Epcot, or like Millennium Falcon at Hollywood Studios at Disney, where it's like people rag on these rides, but it's like, do you ever just stop and appreciate what they were trying to do with this ride? And I feel that way kind of about Mario Kart, where it's like, yeah, it's not the best ride of all time, and I can see how people will get confused by it or a little off put by it, but like, I really admire them for having the balls to try this ride. And I think it mostly succeeds in what it sets out to do. I liked it a lot. Mario Kart was awesome. Almost didn't get to ride it because it was down 90% of the day. Yoshi was adorable. I wish it was a little longer, but it's such a fun ride. And Donkey Kong, that ride is awkward because it like desperately needs some onboard like music or something. It's like way too quiet, but the ride's fucking awesome. The queue's amazing. The animatronics are amazing. It's awesome running around a little mine car with Donkey Kong animatronics everywhere. I fucking love it. It was so good. But I adore this line. So needless to say, this is a long build up to say, I had to do everything there is to do in this land. I had to see and experience it all. And having had the Yoshi slushie and gone on all the rides, one thing I had to do to top off my day here at Epic Universe was eat at the Toadstool Cafe, which is the restaurant in Super Nintendo World. So we went there. I got the Luigi burger. It's a grilled chicken sandwich with bell pepper and arugula and like a pesto mayo. It has like a Luigi mustache on the bun. And then she got a beurre blanc chicken, which is, I guess, a new dish because I didn't see it on the menu in Japan or California. In both of those dishes, the chicken was overcooked on both of them, so it was a little dry, but seasoning and the concept of the dish and the flavor overall, these were really impressive for theme park dishes. They were both very good, but the best part by far was the dessert we got, which was a chocolate vanilla strawberry tier cake with a matcha mousse covering it. So it looks like the mountains or the platforming structure of like a Mario level, and they put a little Mario flag on the top of it, so it's cute. But it is just a delicious cake. It is just a really well-made cake, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So got to give a huge shout out to Toadstool Cafe. Not only that, but shout out to Toadstool Cafe because it is essentially like a Mario Rainforest Cafe. I feel like not enough people pick up on this or talk about this, but like you go in there and it's like you're sitting on these little mushroom seats and these little fucking wood tables. It looks like you're in, you got like all these TV screen walls that look like windows, and through the windows on one side of the restaurant, you see all these toads and they're in the kitchen trying to prep your meal for you. So it looks like all these toads are making your food. And then you look at the other side of the wall and you see these other windowed TVs, and it's like all these toads and they're outside like exploring the Magic Kingdom and stuff. But it's like the Rainforest Cafe where like every 20 minutes or whatever, like all the screens, like it turns to like a stormy nighttime, and then like Bowser's ship starts flying through the air and all the toads get scared and they start running and hiding. And it's like, this is fucking awesome. And the lighting in the restaurant dims and it gets a little scary and loud. And I'm like, this is just absolutely phenomenal. It's Rainforest Cafe Mario restaurant, but it's also a casual restaurant, so you don't got to worry about crazy prices and tipping. It's just, dude, it's awesome. It's a fun restaurant. Food isn't amazing, but for theme park quick service food, the presentation's really fun. The flavors are there, and it was a decent time. Absolutely worth checking out. It's not just a novelty. It's a decent dining experience. So I gotta say, overall, Epic Universe, the food, pretty good. I left that theme park very happy, very full. Special shout out to Toadstool Cafe and Pizza Moon, and that Yoshi slushie. Goddamn, that Yoshi slushie is so good. But overall, I loved this park and I loved eating my way around it. Now I'm left with nothing but the memories, the calories, and this Mario wristband that I don't know what to do with, but I had a great time nonetheless. So that is it for what I've been eating. Maybe next week if all I eat is like chicken and broccoli and rice for the rest of the week, which is probably what I need to do at this point. Maybe next week we can talk about baseball food at in Kansas City at the Royal Stadium. I don't know, but that's it for what I've been eating. So let's move on into the important thing that's not just food related and talk about video games. So let's talk about what I've been playing. And again, I don't mean to keep it so off topic from Xbox, but we'll start with this. I have been playing Oblivion Remastered. So leading up to when I left on Friday, I've been playing Oblivion Remastered. I really love this game. I'm only a few more hours in now than I was last week, so I've really only played it maybe 3 or 4 hours more since we last spoke. But I'm adoring this game. It is the primary game I am playing when I am home. I just haven't been home. So my plan is to spend this weekend recuperating from spending way too much money, traveling way too much, and just staying home and wrapping up Oblivion and just really enjoying that and getting involved in that, so that next week I can start Doom. But I haven't really been playing it that much, so I have nothing really to add to it. I assume next week I'll have much more to say. But what I have been playing, because I brought my Nintendo Switch with me on the plane on my 3-hour flight there and back to Kansas City, I've been playing Super Mario Wonder, and then a little bit today before I record the podcast. I played a couple hours today because I was just excited about Nintendo, having just been to Nintendo Land. So I've been playing Mario Wonder, and I'm at the tail end of this. I'm on the final world of this game. And I just got to say, unless this game doesn't nail the landing, which I don't know how you do that in a Mario game, but unless this game has some catastrophically horrible final world, I'm going to just go out and say it. And this isn't saying too much because I love Mario. Mario is my favorite gaming franchise. But when I say that, I really mean 3D Mario. I mean like Mario Galaxy, Mario Sunshine. I don't mean, Super Mario Brothers 3 for the NES. But nonetheless, I do love 2D Mario, and so it means something. It just, it's not as big a praise, but it is high praise nonetheless. I will say Super Mario Wonder is my favorite 2D Mario game of all time. Unless this final section of the game just completely botches it all and pisses me off and sucks ass. This is my favorite 2D Mario game. I'd say the only other 2D Mario games that I would really compare it to and say, well, maybe that one's a little better, or maybe you can make a case for this. It's Super Mario World for the SNES and New Super Mario Brothers for the original Nintendo DS. One of those two games you can make an argument for, but for my money, for my taste, what I've experienced thus far, Mario Wonder on the Nintendo Switch is the best 2D Mario of all time. What a great year for Mario and Sonic 2, because at the end of 2023, we got Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars. And while Sonic Superstars is not the best 2D Sonic game, I would say Sonic 2 or Sonic Mania or Sonic CD are probably the best 2D Sonic games. Sonic Superstars is a very good one. It is a very strong game. I like it a lot. And what I love about both of these games is they both really go back to basics while also reinventing the wheel. Like, I feel like they roll back what the 2D versions of these franchises have been for the past 15, 20 years, and then go back to like the core of what these games were back in like the SNES and Sega Genesis days, and then they build off that. And I feel like Super Mario Wonder is such an amazing evolution of what 2D Mario should be. There are no two levels are alike. There's always something crazy and ridiculous, some new mechanic, some new ability, some new visual flair. The way they present levels to you, you can explore whatever world you want, whatever order. You finish a level and it's like, you completed the level, or did you? And then they're like, hey, use this ability, go back into the level and try it again. I think you might find a different path. It's like, that's fucking crazy. Or you collect a wonder seed in the middle of the level, and then instead of running to the end goal, it's like, now we're swimming in the air. It's just crazy shit happens. Or like, now Mario's turned into a mushroom for no reason. Enjoy getting through the level now. It's just, the game has so much charm, so much visual and artistic flair, so much animation flair, and then so many creative mechanics and ideas in every level that's just like, this game is such a treat. It is such a like smile on your face kind of game to play, because you're like 30, 40 levels into the game and it's still just constantly surprising you with really unique, fun, wacky ideas. And for that, I just think this is the most creative and fun 2D Mario game that there's ever been. I really, really love Super Mario Wonder, and I can't believe it's taken me a year and a half to finally get to it, but I'm really glad I finally got to it, because, I mean, what a great game. The only thing is, I kind of feel bad about playing it on a plane, because I obviously played it with no audio, and I was like, this is a game I really just want to experience plugged into the dock on a TV with the volume on. Like, I want to experience this game. So, I'm wrapping it up at home right now, and I'm loving this game so much. But that's it for what I've been playing. A little bit of Oblivion, a lot of Mario Wonder, and next week, hopefully we'll be able to finish up Oblivion and then talk about Doom. But guys, that is it. So let's wrap up this podcast. There's only one thing left to talk about, and it is the best, the final, and the last segment, the comments, the shoutouts from youtube.com. You know how it works. Head on over to youtube.com, click on the latest episode, and drop a comment. You can be an asshole, but I prefer you didn't. Or you can be nice, or you can be constructive, or you can take me to task on an opinion or something I said. I don't care. Just please engage with me. Talk to me. I think I fixed the Spotify issue. It looks like the episode from last week stayed on Spotify, so we should be good. But if you notice any episodes disappearing from your preferred platform of choice, podcast service of choice, please let me know. I would love to not have this podcast disappear for no reason. But let's start out this week. We got 4 comments here. Let's start out in reverse order, beginning with Mr. Tim R. The R stands for remember, there is power in friendship. He says, my last comment got deleted evidently. Must have been for saying unalive or something like that. But for me, price hikes are so frustrating because it's an increase of 33% in 5 years, which is way more than my wages. I think they should I think they should cost more. I think that we should make more money as well. Also, assume that most people are reasonable and also mad about tariffs and genocide. Misspelled that in hopes that my comments won't get deleted again. And the fact that he gets another effing judge. The world is a dumpster fire, and the increases are just the cherry on top. That could just be me, though. Yeah, no, man, I don't mean to assume the worst in people. I appreciate it. I'm just always sensitive to the fact that like someone could always be there to misinterpret what you say or how you say things and then feel like you're judging or attacking them personally when in reality you're just trying to make blanket statements. Tim R, I appreciate your comment, but yeah, you're correct. There is no problem with pricing going up and wages should keep up. Amen, brother. Absolutely. And I know that's the biggest thing. Hey, I also work in corporate America and can confirm that wages are not keeping up with the cost of goods, the cost of living. So absolutely, it's frustrating as hell. If only we had a government that fought for its people instead of serving itself. It is insane how much the government can get away with literally working against the working class people of the United States every single day and still get the undenying love and respect and loyalty of the same people who are getting constantly fucked over by said government. It's just astonishing to me. But hey, like I always say, the American people deserve every fucking bad thing coming to them because they constantly support the worst people. So that's, I guess, what you get. I just feel bad for the people in the other parts of the world that don't get a say in our political system because they don't get to vote for the bombs to drop on their fucking heads while we're just running around bitching and moaning about, I don't know, whatever else, the Kardashians. I don't know, but Tim R, I appreciate it. You're right. A little perspective, a little levity. Assuming most people are rational and reasonable, which is the case. Yeah, people probably get what's going on, but it's just frustrating when all the bad things are happening, but none of the good things are happening to weigh out the bad. And man, ain't that the truth. Cronky writes in and says, out of curiosity, what is the price that they could make the next premium Xbox console that would make you have to pass? I could go up to $600, but then I think I'd have to stop on principle. Not that I don't think that the console would be worth $600 or more, but if it costs more than that, I don't think I could justify spending that much money when I have a family and obligations. Well, little Mr. Cronky, you get a pregnancy on the way, and then suddenly you're Mr. High and Mighty. I can't afford shopping at Whole Foods. Look at you go. No, I mean, I think this is totally fair. You got to have a price, even if you have the disposable income and you're a fan of the product and are willing to pay whatever in order to get the thing, you should still have a bulking price just out of self-respect. And I agree with that 100%. That being said, I don't have self-respect, and I think my bulking price would be a little higher than it should be for the next generation of Xbox. So reasonably, with where we're headed, with what I think the next Xbox has to be in terms of its marketing position, in terms of the number of units they think that they should manufacture and can reasonably sell, I think a reasonable price for the next Xbox console is going to be $700 or $800. That is genuinely what I think, and the reason I think that is because the Xbox Series X was created with the intention of it being a mass market console, like the PlayStation 4, like the Xbox 360, like that. But I think it is obvious that Xbox is never going to have another Xbox 360. So if they're going to continue hardware, they have to make boutique hardware, and boutique hardware has to be more expensive with the assumption that far fewer people are going to buy it. So you need to justify the R&D cost by charging a premium for it. So with that context in mind, I would assume that the next Xbox has to be $700 or $800 at a minimum, which I am willing to pay. Just as a side note. Now, what is my absolute highest bulking price before I would go, nah, fuck that shit? $1,200? I know that's insane. But the thing is, it's like, I am generally not the kind of person who buys a lot of things. Like my girlfriend always remarks, it's like, you got to stop wearing your shoes until there's holes in the bottom of them. Or, hey, you wore that shirt every Saturday for the past 3 months in a row. When are you going to buy a new shirt? It's not because like I'm slovenly or anything. It's just that I try to be frugal. I try to be good with my money. I try to only purchase things that are needs and be very selective with the wants. And the thing is, video games are my biggest hobby. And when I think about buying a video game console that is going to be my primary source of entertainment for 6 to 8 years, I think $800, $600, $1,200, whatever, I think it's all worth it. Because when you break that math down and you think about how much value you get out of that console, how much time you spend playing it, how many years you play it for, how many video games you're able to access on that console, I just think that the amount of, if you want to make it a time-based equation of like amount of value per hour spent playing the video game console, I just think the value is there. I just think it makes sense. I mean, I'm an idiot with math, so let's pull out a calculator real quick. If an Xbox was $1,200 and you played it for 8 years, that means you'd be paying $150 per year for 8 years for that console. I mean, that's not bad. And divide that by 12 months. I mean, you're paying $12 a month for an Xbox, $13 a month for that $1,200 Xbox. As far as like how much, when you break down the cost, and it's like, I just think $13 a month for 8 years is a reasonable price for a console that I'm playing 10 to 30 hours, not 10 to 30, maybe like 5 to 20 hours a week, depending on how much free time I have to play video games. I just think that sounds worth it, in my opinion. But I totally understand. It's like, you can't always break it down and make it make sense that way. I understand people have families. You can't be dad putting a $1,200 Xbox charge on the credit card and saying to wifey with your kid or two in the background, oh yeah, honey, it's okay. It's only $13 a month for 8 years. Of course I bought the latest Xbox. It's like, I'm aware that that's a crazy and ridiculous thing to say. I just am also aware that I have the massive privilege of being a childless adult with disposable income and can therefore improperly rationalize these things to myself. But yeah, I totally understand. There has to be a bulking price. I think mine is far higher than most people's probably would be. But yeah, I'm expecting a $700 or $800 console next generation, and I will happily pay that. Do I want it to be $700, $800 or more? Absolutely not. I want the next Xbox to be free. But I just doubt it will be. And so I'm just trying to realistically and rationally think, what am I willing to do? That's where I come out on that. So let me know how stupid you think I am for that take, or feel free to respond. I welcome your feedback. Cargo Runner UK. This is Cargo Runner UK, not to be confused with Cargo Runner US. Cargo Runner US is constantly broken down with transmission issues, whereas Cargo Runner UK isn't even sold in the US because why would we want cars from the UK? And Cargo Runner says Xbox and PlayStation used to sell consoles. I wonder if anyone got that reference. I wonder if anyone understands half the stupidity I say. Anyway, Cargo Runner says Xbox and PlayStation used to sell their consoles at a loss to trap you into their ecosystem. If the next Xbox is an open system, then you can use any storefront, then they can't afford to sell you a console at a loss. Bingo. So I always expected that Xbox hardware prices will increase sooner or later. PCs are usually bulky and ugly, so a console-sized Xbox PC might sell better than the traditional Xbox console locked to just the Xbox store. Xbox have offered an Xbox All Access program in some countries in the past. Pay monthly with zero interest and discounted Game Pass, so there's an option for people that can't afford the big one-time payments. Zero interest and a discount is a great deal. Game Pass has been killing it this year. Well, there you go. I basically just talked about Xbox All Access without even saying it. Game Pass has been killing it. I forgot that even existed, to be honest. Game Pass has been killing it this year, and I think that the gamers are noticing, especially as the Sony first-party studios are quiet this year. Some of the PlayStation 5 games in my Xbox 360 collecting group are thinking about getting a Series S for Game Pass, and my friend works in a game shop and said that the first time this generation, a guy traded in his PlayStation 5 for Series X this week, although my friend still called it a bad move. It's a funny anecdote. Yeah, it's interesting you said, because an anecdote on my end is someone I know who has been talking about buying an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 for like 3 years. actually bit the bullet and bought a Series S. He got the 1 terabyte Series S this week and was like, "Yo, I just got it. I downloaded Game. I signed up for Game Pass. Let's play." I'm like, "Whoa!" Especially because this guy upgraded from a PlayStation 4 to an Xbox Series S. Very casual gamer, but nonetheless, I'm like, "Hey, that's one for Xbox, right?" So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's anecdotal stuff. I'm sure in the long run, that's not where we're trending, but it is cool to see some momentum, even if it is just anecdotal. I think, yeah, Xbox is absolutely killing it with Game Pass, and you just can't convince me that an Xbox Series X isn't worth $600 or an Xbox Series S isn't worth $380 when Game Pass is $20 a month and you're getting Indiana Jones and Expedition 33 and Doom and Oblivion Remastered and South of Midnight and all. It's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, what do you want? What more could you want? Yeah, PlayStation 5 has a $700 Pro model if you want the highest fidelity in console gaming, but good luck playing games on it because it only has the same third-party games that Xbox has. They're not even making games on PlayStation pretty much these days, so God bless you for, it's not that one's better than the other. It's just like, I still think there's a ton of value in Xbox, even if they do put their games on PlayStation, but that's just me, I guess. Cargo Runner, I appreciate your perspective as always. You are a gem. And I will be sure to claim you as one of ours when my government comes and invades your government and they try to forcefully take you guys in as slaves. I will say, no, that one is one of ours. Cargo Runner UK. He pre-ordered a Switch 2. He's clean. He's good. Please go easy on him because that's how much I like you. Our final comment comes in from Sam Frito, who actually is the Frito stands for freedom. It's just a typo. So Sam Freedom, he's a patriot. He's a godsend, and he's here to bring McDonald's and Xbox to children in all third world countries. So let's hear what he has to say. He says, coming back from a sneaky retro sabbatical, and once again you've turned your Xbox on into McDonald's/Nintendo loving horde we swore we'd never become. Jesse, I go back a pretty long ways. Elmer Fudd once told me, shave your beard or you won't go into showbiz. Something like that. Gaming prices increasing is something we should always expect. It's still one of the cheapest and long-lasting highs. By the way, you sound great. Xbox is still very solid in my opinion. I think it's time they get paid. Now I don't agree with them raising a 2-year-old game like Ni no Kuni 2 up to $80. No one's going to buy that unless it's on sale, which makes me think that someone at Xbox earned their demotion/layoff for thinking the wheel's going to roll off the big with that big a bump in it. Wait, what? They didn't raise the price of Ni no Kuni. You're just giving that as an example's sake, right? Let's hope someone can reason with them at Xbox and return older games, regular price games, to their original cost and save the $80 for the premium stuff. I hope you enjoy Epic Universe. My son and I went on Easter and we rode everything except the carousel. I loved every second of it. I now understand how to train your dragon, so you better get one. That I read that the other day and I laughed so hard. I showed it to my girlfriend and I was like, "Isn't that so funny?" And she goes, "I don't get it." And I was like, "It's funny. You don't get it, but I get it. You're funny. You don't get it." Yeah, man, I thought about that comment a few times while I was at Epic Universe. I was like, Sam Frito rode everything but the carousel. We had to ride everything at least, including the carousel. No, we didn't. We didn't get on that many rides. So many things were going up, like down throughout the day because they're just working through the technical kinks of that park right now. We were able to ride everything we wanted to ride except for the Curse of the Werewolf, which I was pretty bummed about, but that's okay. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I did everything in Nintendo. I still got to ride the Monsters Unchained ride, which is a high point for me. We didn't ride Stardust Racers, which I was super bummed about, but not because it wasn't running. It was because at the end of the night, I was like, I want to top off. I want to end the night with that at nighttime because that coaster looks so pretty at night. My girlfriend was like, I do not want to ride a big roller coaster right now. I'm not in the mood. I was like, that sucks. But we instead rode Monsters Unchained a second time to cap off the night. And it was a great idea because I fucking love that ride. And I like that land a lot at nighttime. It's very pretty. Although it's very small, not a whole lot going on there. But I still love it. Anyway, Yeah, thank you for writing in, Sam Frito. I'm glad you guys had a good time at Epic, but to get back to your point, I don't know anything about them raising prices on existing games. Is that a thing? Did I just completely miss that from the news? Did they try to raise the price of Ni no Kuni 2 up to $80? Because I'm pretty sure Ni no Kuni 2 came out like 2017. Like, that game's old now, so what the fuck would they be doing that for? Now, I don't know if I'm just an idiot or if that's a nod to something, but listen, if Xbox is going to try to raise the price of existing games, that is moronic. That is fucked up. I am not okay with that. It's like, what are you doing? Games only drop in price over time. We're not doing this shit. You're not Nintendo. Get over yourself. But if they're going to raise the price of games going forward, like Fable will be an $80 game, I have no problem with that. Fable has been in development forever, has cost an arm and a leg, and is probably worth $80. So I have no problem with that whatsoever. So, I mean, that is just my plain and simple stance on that. But yeah, I think we're all in the same boat here for the most part. It seems like there's a lot of understanding it's not that we want things to go up in price. It's that we understand the conditions that cause this to be the reality that we're in, and it just is what it is. But yeah, wouldn't it be nice, as Tim R aptly points out, wouldn't it be nice if our wages kept up with the cost of living? We can dream. But thank you all so much for writing in. Sam Frito, Cargo Runner UK, Cronky, and Tim R. Thank you all so much for writing in. And thank you all for listening to the Xbox On podcast, where we mostly talked about Nintendo and Universal theme parks. I can confidently say I would highly recommend a vacation to Universal Orlando Resort, because now, despite that first park still sucking ass, they got great hotels. They got Islands of Adventure and Epic Universe, which are both fantastic parks. And they got Volcano Bay, which is a criminally underrated water park. And City Walk will always rock because it's nostalgic. It's like the 90s threw up on a shopping district, and I love that. So anyway, until next week, feel free to reach out with any comments, questions you have. You need help planning your Walt Disney World or Universal vacation, reach out to me. You want to talk video games? That's weird, but you can do that as well. But until next week, be good, guys. Take care. Be safe. Eat some yummy food. Hang out with the people you love. Play your video games. And power your dreams.